Hello and welcome to another episode of Eat, Smoke, Drink. The sun is shining, sometimes there's cloud everywhere. If it starts drizzling, I'm still going to film because, you know, it's one of those things. You gotta do it, you gotta do it. Anyway, today I'm going to review something quite unusual. The Glenlochy. Glenlochy, 1980, 35-year-old, matured in a Hogshead. 218 bottles, 51.1% alcohol. This is the first time I have ever encountered a Signatory vintage rare reserve. Never ever seen this canister before. This box before. It's always been a canister. There's cans, which are pretty awesome because the bottle Signatory has a flange and it pours really well. I hate it when the bottle doesn't have a flange because then you're like, it goes. It's kind of annoying, but anyway, first world problems. So Glenlochy, not much information about it actually online. So I would love for someone to tell me a little bit about it. But Glenlochy, from what I've read, they basically shut down in 1983 or something like that, 1983. And yeah, no one really, there's not really that much information about them. Don't know why they're shut down, but like anything else, probably accounting reasons. Maybe they didn't need it for the blends anymore. They didn't need the volume. They're probably regretting it now, but who knows? You never really know. So it's something that it's hard to really know why these places shut down. Was the whiskey just shit? Who knows? I reckon they're a bit different because they're a different era. Maybe they don't use it for blends like the modern blends they use now. So whatever reasons it could be. I've read that Glenlochy, I believe it is a Diageo distillery, and they might have had a rare malts release of Glenlochy, but don't quote me on that. But that's what I think I read that somewhere. There might be a rare malts release somewhere. I would love to try it. If any of you have a Glenlochy rare malts for me to try, send the bottle my way, and I'll give you a free subscription to my OnlyFans account. My OnlyFans account is anything for $100. Anything for $100. It's really popular in Saudi Arabia. Anyway, as you can see, felt lined, wood accents. It's pretty cool. Andrew Symington, managing director, has his signature on there. I actually think it's signed by him. Shit, I actually think it's physically written by him. But anyway, look, let's get pouring. Love that sound. Look at that flange. Look at that perfect pour. Woo! A little bit more. Let's do a little bit more. Huh? Look at that perfect pour. One thing about Signatory bottles is that their corks don't fit anything else, so you can't really keep them as a spare cork. But hey, once again, first world problems. Let's get nosing. Once again, I'm using the butt plug glass. Ooh. Slightly acidic note, citrus forward, very buttery, very, very buttery. It is like a fresh buttered popcorn. When you go into a cinema and you have the buttered popcorn roasting in the background, I'm getting some of that. A hint of smoke, definitely some smoke in there. I'm not sure if there's peat in there. I'm thinking there's peat in there, but maybe over the years have dissipated. But I can get like a distinctly smoky, slightly peaty nose in the distance. But hey, I'm not sure. Like I said, I don't have much information on this at all, so your guess is as good as mine. Some bandage glue, some sellotape, wet leaves, wet dry leaves. When you have a pile of leaves in the backyard and then it rains, or your dog runs around and then messes it up and you've got that smell. Wet soil, kind of like when you get buried alive. Someone pranks you and buries you alive. Everyone does that, right? You know how that feels? Yeah, pretty sure. Is that normal? I don't even know if that's normal. Very intriguing nose. Very different, actually. It's a bit of fruit, citrus fruit. There's some smoky, slight peatiness that I'm detecting. A slight mushroomy, moldy, dungeon smell. Like a dungeon with old cardboard boxes. Maybe like Fritzel's dungeon. Oh, sorry. Sure, no, trigger warning on that one. Like old clothes in a box, you know? Like old clothes, old linen. Earthiness like leaves and soil. Popcorn, butter. A slight herbaceousness to it. Wow, very different nose. It's all over the place. It's all over the place. It's everywhere. Pine wood, like new pine wood. When you go to a hardware store and you get some pine planks, like a pine, like a kiln dried pine. There you go, kiln dried pine. The nose is quite intense. For something that is 51%, it's quite an intense nose. You'd think it's more. Or it could just be because it is smack on 10 AM this morning and I'm sniffing whiskey. Whatever. There is a slight perfumey wood, like a sandalwood incense in there. I can't put my finger on it, but licorice on the nose, aniseed. Wow, it's everywhere. It's all over the place. It's just flavors and shit everywhere, you know? Like, it's actually quite interesting how there's just so much going on in there. Oh, by the way, we didn't have this at our tasting. This was gifted to myself from Paul. Cheers, Paul. Paul the Pink Panther Berry. Let's get sipping. Whoa. Whoa. Extremely medicinal and herbal. Wow, delicious. Nice mouthfeel. Very nice mouthfeel. Oily, viscous, sweet, and it goes into a bitterness, a herbal bitterness. Alright, it starts off with a little sweetness. Definitely buttery, oily. Definitely reminds me of a buttered popcorn, a hot buttered popcorn. Tarragon, rosemary, licorice, spices, black pepper. Definitely a black pepper heat. I'm not talking about ground black pepper, I'm talking about crushed black pepper. You know, when you're roasting on a stainless steel pan some peppercorns for a cacio e pepe, and then you get that peppercorn hit. It's like that. It's quite prominent, actually. Ginger, not candied ginger, but actual ginger, the heat from the ginger. I would say there's like just a bouquet of spice and herbs. I'd say more aniseed than clove, but the two can be very closely related. Yeah, strong sweetness in the front palate dissipates. I'm getting a hint of citrus, lemon peel, a bitterness. Not just from the herbs and the spices, but also like a lemon pith, lemon peel, lemon pith. on the mid to back palate, I'm getting, I'm definitely getting that dustiness, almost like a rotten wood, like a rotting wood, like a wet wood that's just kind of rotting away for years. It could be the barrel, I'm not quite sure what that could be. Anyone's guess. Matured in a hogshead, so you know, I'm presuming that that is predominantly bourbon, a bourbon influenced hogshead, but I'm not getting too much sweetness and vanilla and sickly coconut, which is really quite cool and interesting. I'm definitely getting more decomposing wood, a bit of pickle juice even. It's really weird, really strange. Smokiness, definitely smoky. I'm not sure if this is peat. I would really like to know if anyone knows about this. If this is peated, or slightly peated, or residual peat, but I swear there is a strong-ish smokiness to it with some peat, okay? I'm not quite entirely sure, but please tell me. I'd say more of an inland peat, forest peat, as opposed to a coastal peat, maybe. More smoke, charry, coal, firewood smell of type of peat. It is slightly resiny, like I said, the oiliness, the texture. Wow, what an intriguing whiskey. Very unusual. One of the weirder whiskies I've had in a long time, actually, to be completely forward there. It is one of the weirdest whiskies I've had for a while. It is quite delicious, but not something that is extremely quaffable, okay? So it's not something that you can probably session in a night. It's definitely a thinker, this one. History in a bottle. Now that I've had several sips, getting some attic smell and taste. You know, when you go into an attic, it's got that kind of slightly dampy wood, dusty smell. It's got like a, but imagine that with a well-used baseball mitt. Either a well-used baseball mitt or a well-used gimp suit, full body gimp suit, where it's absorbed a lot of sweat over the years, and it's in that attic and it's infused within the wood. That's what I'm getting out of that gimp leather suit. Funk. Look, that's a great bottle. My first Glenlochy I've ever reviewed. First Glenlochy I've ever had. I think it's definitely a buyer. I think it's definitely something worth trying. Super interesting. And I must say, this is cool. When this is done, I think I'm going to have to keep this box. Shit knows what I'm going to use it for. Actually, it's not very practical, but, you know, beautiful, beautiful box. Until next time, make sure you eat, smoke, drink. Cheers.